Hey guys, welcome to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be looking inside this gearbox. This is out of a VFC MP7 AEG. I'm going to open up this gearbox and show you some things and go over the parts with you. So with that being said, let's get started. So one thing I wanted to add to let you guys know that I stream on Twitch TV. And if you're interested and want to see some live tech work being done, links will be in the bottom of the description below. All right, so first off, these gearboxes have 1, 2, 3, 4 gears. You got your bevel and 2 spurs. Well, actually, this is like a weird spur, but I'll show you here in a second. The gearbox has some upgrades to it. One of them being, starting with the tappet plate. If you look here, this tappet plate is not a OEM tappet plate. It's basically what the VFC tappet plate looks like, but it's made out of polymer. This one is a bow gear aluminum, and it works great. So if you have a tappet plate that goes bad in these gearboxes, you can get one of these, and it doesn't cause any binding whatsoever. In fact, it really keeps the cycling smooth, and you don't have to worry about it breaking. The nozzle here, trying this EPES nozzle in this guy, but the VFC nozzle, the nozzles that are in these MP7s are just a regular AEG nozzle. This nozzle ended up being too long, so I ended up milling it down to 23.4 millimeters. And the reason why I swapped out the nozzles, because the OEM one was damaged on the lip here. It was causing very bad FPS inconsistency. But I accidentally trimmed a little bit too much on this nozzle, so we're going to be putting a pay run adjustable nozzle on this guy, and that way we can adjust it as needed. The rest of this gearbox have a single O-ring cylinder head. A lot of people, I've heard people say that this is you can use a version 7. I've already tried that, and the version 7 nozzle, this guy right here, it sets a little offset from what this is, so a version 7 or a version 6 will not work in this gearbox. You're pretty much stuck with this cylinder head. Cool thing is though, you can change out your piston head if you want to. This is just a normal sized AEG piston head. Here's one out of the Double Eagle M4. As you can see, they're exactly the same size. This is a customer's MP7. I ended up having to change out his metal rack here because the final tooth on the previous one was becoming damaged. Well, this piston is actually no good. I've been trial and erroring this thing, and this pickup tooth right here has been a little messed up, and I don't think it's good anymore. I don't feel comfortable warranting this airsoft gun if this piston's now no good. But pistons are not very cheap, and that's why I was trying to swap out the rack here. I ended up using an SHS rack and trimming it down to fit, and it works perfectly. No issues there. So that's the piston for you. Moving on. The cylinder that's in this airsoft gun is just a normal diameter cylinder. So if for whatever reason the cylinder that's already in your VFC is bad, what you could do is you could take a regular AEG cylinder and trim it down to length if you want to change them out to something better, or if the one that was in it was damaged. Moving on, this is your bevel gear. Looks very much like a normal AEG bevel gear. And if you look closely, it's longer, and it has a longer axle here, and the top of it's longer. Because of that, you cannot use a normal AEG bevel gear if this ever goes bad. You're pretty much stuck with the OEM bevel gear. But I haven't had any issues with these gears. Here's the spur gear. Very long axle. Little tip. If you ever have to shim these guys up, what you can do is you can slide your collar here, and you can put your shims here. That way, only this contacts the bearing, if you so choose to use the bearings. But on the back, you just do it like normal. But I did it this way because that way the shims don't ride on the outside of these bearings, just to try to keep the amperage load as low as possible. Moving on. Then it has this other, I want to call it a spur gear. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments below. But yeah, but again, it has a collar on both sides. These gears are pretty damn durable. in my opinion. And here's the sector gear, just this tiny little guy. It too has a collar, and then on the back side, this is your cam, your tappet plate cam. And that's what this guy right here is, what moves your tappet plate back and forth, as well as your return spring for your tappet plate. Moving on, and here's the anti-reversal latch. The spring for the anti-reversal latch is a weird design, but when you go to reassemble this gearbox, you don't have to put this spring under tension when you close up the gearbox. Once you close up the gearbox, you can take that spring right there and pop it inside the gearbox, and then you're good to go. So this makes assembling the gearbox much easier. So I'll give you guys a close-up look of the shell. There you go. Your nozzle comes out the bottom right here. The motor slides in right here and interacts with the bevel gear, and so on and so forth. So yeah, if you guys have any questions regarding this MP7, let me know, and I'll do the best I can to answer your questions. Feel free to ask them down in the comments. Other than that, that's my little quick review of the VFC MP7 Gearbox. You guys have a great day, and thanks for watching. Bye.